Your life is a summation of your daily thoughts and habits. My friends, your daily thoughts, we just need your thought processes for 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's the summation of your thoughts and your habits to be with us 10 to 15 minutes, filling out your daily market worksheet once a week, your weekly market worksheet, and every time you do a practice trade, your trade worksheets. You would not believe how amazing your progress will be if you will use those items, and you can fill them out while you are listening to the program every day. Now, those of you who are driving, riding, whatever it might be, whenever you find the time, you might not be able to fill the worksheet out right then, but do it as often as you can. At least start with the weekly market worksheet. You'll have time to do that over the weekend and every time you do a trade of particular import. If you listen to successful traders and investors who follow the markets, you will find over and over again, they will all tell you there is a learning curve, and the way you speed that learning curve up is by making copious notes, learning from doing, on-the-job training. But if you don't write it down, it's as if it didn't happen. You won't have that reservoir of past knowledge to fall back on. I was listening to a book on tape the other day, and the author, it was a memory expert. He was talking about how much of our memories we lose. I mean, it's 80+%. Just a day or two after you've read something, you've learned something. If you don't write it down and then review it and learn from it, have it somewhere where you can go back and see it, so much of what you learn, you'll forget. And the older you get, the more stuff you will forget. So please write it down. If you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. They say that in the legal profession and the medical profession all the time. Very, very important. Now, for our Patreon members, we're sending out, as soon as the show is over, I'm sending you out 10 weekly vertical crossovers going up on the S&P 500. 10 weekly vertical crossovers going down. There are prospects for this week. It is Wednesday. There's a lot of action in the market. Put those, again, find one or two of those that you might practice trade on Friday. If those crossovers occur, backtrack. Look at the stock, the ETF. Well, they're all stocks because it's the S&P 500. See what you find, what's interesting. Use your trade worksheet. Do everything that you would do as if it were real money and you were making real decisions. You want to practice? We have opportunities for you every single week at any of the Patreon levels of support. And we so appreciate our Patreon members. They're the ones who pay for the texting service, the webmaster service, the emails, all that stuff. If you want to support us, you appreciate what we do. You know, the things you tend to support, they stay around. We've been around a while, and we plan, many years, we plan on continuing to be here for you. Let's jump into these charts. Everything was up yesterday, everything down today except Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up just a little bit, 0.44%. But the rest of it, stocks, bonds, and gold, down. Let's first go to the S&P 500. It's down 0.31%. Now, of course, it had bounded up yesterday. And what we see it doing now is slowing down, and we see a green up candle that is forming. I say it bounded up yesterday. I mean, you can see a green up candle as far as things taking off and rocketing to the sky. None of that's happening. But price percent oscillators pulling away from the red signal line, derivative oscillator going up, things still going in the right direction as far as that weekly vertical crossover goes. 2-day chart. Of course, this chart now represents Tuesday and Wednesday. The latest 2-day candle. Our jumping in point, let's see, where was it? It occurred last week, somewhere around the 410 mark. It's up around, hit a high so far, 413. So again, moving slowly, but moving up. That's nice. Price percent oscillator losing a little bit of energy, but still heading up. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. 2-day. We go from the 2-day to the half-day. What do we see there? Up in the morning, pulling back a little in the afternoon, crossing over, going down again on that half-day chart. Not on the 2-day, not on the weekly. So we'll continue to watch, see which way things are going to go Thursday and Friday. The Q's down a lot today, 1.20 is our biggest downer for the day. Had been getting closer to a crossover going up on the price percent oscillator. It's not crossing at this point. Derivative oscillator still a little bit negative. Who knows, over the next 2 days, it could cross by the end of the week. We'll keep an eye on that green up candle. Go to the 2-day. We can see again, it slowed down a little bit. Derivative oscillator still moving up. When I say slowed down, the price percent oscillator reduced its upward angle a little. Derivative oscillator gained upward momentum. And of course, we see price moving on the 2-day chart right up that 2-day trend line. Half day, just like the S&P, it crossed over going down in the morning, still above that 2-day trend line. That's where we are when it comes to stocks. Let's go to bonds. We see 20-year bonds down 0.37%. Again, green open box candle. We've seen TLT strengthening a little bit over the last going into the 4th week. Price percent oscillator, though, still negative. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum, still negative. 2-day, of course, it crossed over back on the 2-day candle at the end of March, on the 29th of March. Down 2 more days, then sort of tracking up since then. Price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator lost a little bit of energy. We look at the half day, it's still positive. We can sort of see where things were flattened down a little bit as the day moved along. That's where we are on bonds. Let's go to gold. Gold down 0.45%. Now let's start on the weekly chart like we always do. We can again see where gold sort of bottomed and is trying to move up, but just not quite doing it. The price percent oscillator is not crossed over yet. It is heading up toward the red signal line, maybe. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. That's on the weekly. 2-day, it crossed over going up back on the 19th of March. Slid sideways for 4 more days, down for 4 days, up 6 days, and sort of sideways now for 4 days. Price percent oscillator still meandering up. Derivative oscillator gaining a little bit of upward momentum. Half-day chart, we can see where things were down in the morning, about the same in the afternoon. So waiting to see what's going to happen with gold. What's going to happen with bonds? We're just being patient, watching, waiting. I'm ready for bonds to take off, to cross over going up and hammer up. I'm ready for gold to do that. Typically, what's going to happen, though? Stocks are going to need to probably roll over and head down. Why? Because money tends to flow from the stock market into things like bonds and maybe gold as a hedge when the market's not doing well. And we just sort of continue to see gold and bonds try to find their floor. Now, if the stock market continues to just bang up, we could just see the bottom fall out again on those. Right now, it's not telling us one way or the other. So guess what we do? We wait when it comes to bonds and gold to let the market tell us what to do. Remember, we trend follow. And the number one trend we look for are those weekly vertical crossovers. If you're not quite sure of all I'm talking about, then you need our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth. Look in the show notes. It's available for purchase. Autographed copy waiting for you. Lastly, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin up for the day, 0.44%. Now, yesterday it was up, what? Was that over 4% if I recall? What's it done today? Down a little. I mean, just not, slowed down quite a bit in its upward movement. Price percent oscillator still going down. Derivative oscillator still negative. Do have a green up candle. Bitcoin is $63,240 some odd dollars. It pushed through that $60,000 mark. We do see the price percent oscillator heading up a little bit toward the red signal line on the 2-day. Derivative oscillator just barely negative. Nice big green up candle pushing up through Bitcoin. Half-day chart, of course, it crossed over going up back on the 12th and has just ticked up throughout the course of the day. Like we said, up just a little bit. We're waiting for this 2-day to roll over going up, and that weekly to watch Bitcoin to continue to spike up. We will see still some of that downward pressure still there. that's where we are as we end the day. Again, Patreon members, you've got those 10 possible. It's already happening. But again, you want to confirm that on Friday afternoon like we do around 3:45, 3:50 on either up or down weekly vertical crossovers. We sent you 10 of each. So check your email. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.